We are entering what the wedding industry calls engagement season, the period between Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day. And more than ever, people are proposing with rings containing lab-grown diamonds. According to one analysis, sales of these stones are up 12-fold since 2016. And Danish jeweler Pandora is capitalizing on the trend, selling only lab-grown diamonds after phasing out natural stones in 2021. Joining me now is Pandora President and CEO Alexander Lacik. Alexander, welcome to the program.
Hi.
I confess I didn't know Pandora was a Danish company. Where does the name come from?
Oh, that I actually don't know. I have to go and ask the founder.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Well, let's talk about what you're doing now, which is basically trying to have this diamonds for the masses message. How much cheaper are lab-grown diamonds than traditional ones?
So you would typically find for a 1 carat ring, because it varies a little bit by size, but let's call it 1/3 of the price of a mind.
Wow.
Typically, that's something, yeah.
I've seen them. A colleague of mine used one to propose here. They're beautiful. I would have no problem wearing one. And it sounds like a lot of people are rallying around and embracing them. But you're not the only ones who sell them, right?
No, I mean, I think what you're seeing is a little bit of a shift in the market. Of course, the mined diamond business is huge. And some consumers are now taking a look at this as well because the value equation is different. But I also don't think it's only about the stone. There's a lot of focus on the actual stone. But actually, the way we think about it is we sell a nice piece of jewelry, which contains a design, the way it's set. And yes, it also has a diamond inside.
Yeah, well, I first started taking notice when I would see these lines at the mall thinking, it's not an Apple store, what is it? And it was a Pandora. What are sales and foot traffic trends like these days in the wake of the pandemic? And of course, after kind of now everyone's familiar with Pandora, it's much more of a household name. What's going on with the U.S. consumer? Is it strong? Is it weak a little bit?
So there's a kind of interesting story. Remember that after the pandemic, there was quite some stimulus checks that the U.S. government, dished out to people, and that unnaturally somehow lifted the whole category, including diamonds. But all of jewelry went up quite something. And after that, we've seen this is probably the second year after when the market is now kind of settling back into what I would call more of a steady state. So whether this is part of that, there was this influx of cash, which unnaturally lifted the category, or it's part of the sentiment of the consumer right now in the U.S., and it's probably a mix of the two. But when we look at the market growth in the U.S. for the last 2 years has kind of been negative. And in that light, we have had a sequential, quite nice ride. And in the last quarter, we're actually growing by 5 points in the U.S. So I think Pandora is separating itself from the market performance, but the market is quite tough still.